Hey everyone, it's Bradley Mayer-Harman. Thanks for coming and visiting me on my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk to you about an important development that's happened in our industry, the Canadian real estate industry. Even though this decision was a Supreme Court decision to refuse the appeal to hear the Competition Bureau versus the Toronto Real Estate Board. This decision is very wide-reaching because it changes the entire industry as we know it. It sets a precedent for every other real estate board across Canada that you can no longer hold data, private information on sold information, homeowners' names, and so forth, and the sale date from consumers, specifically from allowing other brokerages to release that information to consumers. Now, specifically in the case, it isolates the idea that consumers are only allowed access to this through a username and password given to them by the brokerage or the brokerage representative. However, with the concept behind that, you're going to have a sliding slope where all of a sudden this information becomes publicly available. It goes on agents' websites, it goes on marketing material, and as a result, it's going to be perceived as no longer being private, and then eventually consumers will have the opportunity to see this information freely without password protection. And so that's why the Toronto Real Estate Board, at least in my opinion, was fighting this so strongly over the last 7 years, because they wanted to restrict the opportunity for consumers to have free access to this information. Now, whether or not that was anti-competitive, that's something that they obviously determined as a result of this court case. But what I want to talk to you today about is specifically the wide-reaching effect and whether or not this has a direct impact on whether or not real estate agents and the industry will survive. And my assertion is that it definitely will. And there's a lot of reasons why it should and it will, but let me just get into them quickly. For starters, when you're talking about allowing free information, this is something that's already been happening in the United States for decades at this point. When you look at Zoocasa and Zolo and Zillow and all these other different companies down there, and there's a zillion other ones that still continue to use that data to well, for the most part, they aren't trying to replace real estate agents. They're trying to gain your information, use your information, and then sell it to real estate agents as leads so that they can have the potential of earning a transaction. And of course, the company themselves would have revenue from the agents who then pay for your information. And so there's no reason to not believe that this is going to happen again in Canada now. And most likely agents are already rushing to the beat to get this to happen for them. For instance, they're most likely to want to provide sold information on their own individual websites, after having given permission from their real estate brokers. But keeping in mind, this is under the current real estate model that most people understand as full service. But in reality, real estate brokers and agents are all very different. There's a zillion different business models that they might implement. And when you look at it from that point of view, this is where you start seeing brokerages like Comfree and others that may have a business model that's more focused on cost reduction and or reducing the level of service so that they can provide a much more cost-effective way of providing what consumers believe that they want. So a lot of people believe they don't need the real estate agent. But here's my argument as to why I don't think it's going to have a huge impact. Beyond the point that it hasn't had a massive impact in the US market, in the sense that the real estate industry is still there and thriving. Real estate agents and real estate teams tend to continue to grow, and there doesn't seem to be an issue with respect to stunting the total growth of the industry. Anyways, so the reason why it's not going to affect real estate agents in today's marketplace is because people may be given tools, right? You talk about a plumber as an example I've used in the past. You might be given a plunger and someone tells you how to use the plunger, but that's only one tool in a plumber's toolbox. There's plenty of tools. So say you're given the tools and the information on how to use the tool. So we'll use the data in the real estate example. You're given the information and the data, but can you interpret that data? Do you understand what that data actually means and what that means for your sale? How does it compare to your house? What are the variables that need to be adjusted? In addition to that, so you know what the sales information is, but do you know what you need to do on the staging front? Do you know what you need to do on the renovations front when it comes to maintaining the house or getting the house in a position that it's going to sell for the most? There's a wide variety of aspects to what a real estate transaction is, in addition to negotiations, in addition to understanding closing using, and understanding how to use all these tools in conjunction, then it comes down to the experience and the confidence that comes into play when you have a confident, experienced real estate agent on one side of the transaction and a consumer on the other side. It doesn't take, a scientist to figure out that there's a huge difference in the ability for negotiations and in the ability for the total sale volume. So again, when we look across industries across the world, not just North America, we see that sales information does not equate the elimination of the real estate industry as a whole. The long and the short of it is the real estate industry is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's been around since kings and queens and the Stone Age, and it's certainly not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Similar to lawyers, just because I can pick up a book and look at what the law says doesn't mean I know how to interpret it. And that's going to be the same thing as it relates to our real estate industry. So if you're a real estate agent, you can rest assured, no issues. If you're a consumer, you can rest assured that this information will be accessible to you within time, and you will be able to use that information just to keep yourself abreast of what's going on. But remember, your ability to interpret that is the real key. So you're still likely to use a real estate agent. You're still likely to need that assist when it comes to understanding the complexities of the total transaction and what needs to happen for you to be successful. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please do subscribe and click the bell to be notified when I release new videos. And I hope you have a great day. Bye for now. How do I turn this thing off now? I'll figure it out, I promise. Nope. We'll do that.